kind of two people from our team visited the house and do some work because we're not going to the office quite yet, but we're kind of starting to spread our wings with each other if everybody's healthy
Yep.
and good. So I had people over at the
Practicing
house all day.
practicing social distancing though still obviously. And
Yeah, and then our team member, one of our team members, Mana, she's dealing with kind of a really high-end luxury home in the 4 million range. She just wanted some backup there with her, so I went out there. I looked at some seriously beautiful homes last night. We looked at two homes in Willowdale, both in that 4 million range. And they were like, I haven't been on a residential showing in some time. So like I had to kind of get the cobwebs off and really perform because the listing agents are there. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like you're not just walking into an empty house. So it's I had to kind of show her how to negotiate, like how to set the stage and strategy. It was an interesting night, but I got
Yeah.
home at 9 o'clock. My father-in-law was over here helping with putting some new mulch down, etc. So we had a slice of pie
Right.
and a beer, and I just hit the sack. So I had a really good sleep. Kids woke me up at 6:45, and the first thing they wanted to do is, "Okay, Daddy, pool time." I was like, "What? What?"
Guys, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Let's take it a little
7 o'clock
easy.
in the morning,
We we'll get to the pool. Don't worry.
all day. So,
Yeah.
anyways, it was a busy morning. It's absolutely God is shining on us today, boy. Let me tell you that.
100%. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Justin Konikow from London. He had a webinar earlier in the morning today. Actually, if you're in, Simos, can you bring Justin in? I just wanted to thank him really
100%.
quickly. Good morning to everybody that's coming in. Welcome to Brunch with REC today. But Justin, if you're still around, come in for a minute. Come say hi. We appreciate you wrapping up your webinar early and having everyone come into ours. What's up, Justin? How
What's
you
up,
doing, buddy?
man?
There's that handsome little devil.
How are you guys?
How
Good,
are
man.
you? We're good. How are you
Good.
doing?
Yeah, well, man, yeah, we did our monthly meetups back in the day. Actually, we started the first one with you guys in Graybrook back like last year. And then we kept having people ask us. So we're like, okay, we'll do it. Like, I think it's the last weekend every month or whatever this Saturday falls into. Normally 9 to 11, but I'm like, man, brunch is at 10:30. I'm like, we got to cut this short. So we ran everything through. I think we sent everybody over here, gave them the links because I love what you guys are doing with Brunch with REC. I get a ton of value from it. I got to run to an appointment clearly, but you guys got to keep doing what you're doing because I mean, it's really the guests you're bringing on, the effort you're putting into. Like, people need to realize it takes time and resources, and effort. But I think you guys are building something pretty amazing.
Thank you so much for wrapping up early and passing over the link here and having everyone come into the brunch. We really appreciate it, buddy. Everything good there though? Like, everyone's safe, family's good?
Amazing. It's God is shining, right? Like Simeon said it
God
right.
is shining, baby. God is shining today, boy.
It's one of those things that, you be grateful for what you have, take time to pour into the things that you do have. There's going to be challenges, but as I say, step up from iron sharpens iron is iron gets sharpened in the fire. So, take those challenges, get a community like this of people around you and get fired up because there's never been a better time to try and be better at what you do. And when I'm done my appointment, I'm going to try and be a better dad and a better husband. So one step at a time.
There's a question that just came in. How do people find out about your webinar? I just saw something in the chat here. How do people find out about your upcoming webinars?
Oh, I'll drop it in the link. It's primebrokerage.ca/prime mastermind, I believe.
Awesome.
So I'll just drop in the link for you guys.
And that's a community you're building there, and with meetups and education. How's the feedback? How's the feedback in London in that? Because you're kind of covering a big geographical area too.
It is.
Last time I was there was guys from all over.
It's crazy, right? Like, you think of like London. A lot of people think of London as like London, but it's southwestern Ontario. Like, it's Lake Huron to Lake Erie, Woodstock to Sarnia, St. Thomas, Grand Bend, Port Stanley. The way I look at it is, if I was in your area, I'd be all the like those different areas, or New York City, like all the different boroughs, right? We're just more spread out because we have more land. But it's been really good, and it's an extension of this community, right? Like, the world's changing, right? Like, companies that are top down, this is mine, I'm not sharing my group with you, you're not sharing my group. That's all gone. Like, even people that work on our team, they're beautiful individuals. They're all passionate about their own things. Vic's like an ex-pro mountain biker. He does his thing. Nate's a musician and does fitness. And like, everybody is doing what they do in love. And then they're coming to the community. They're, bringing value and, helping other people more than I see them taking and then going to another network. So I think it's just another extension of this. It's just another like cosign group of, if I see somebody come through your network, I know they're solid and I'll give them more of my time than I would somebody that just comes dry, right?
Justin, we love your energy. We love everything that you do. We love everything that Prime is up to. Thank you so much, my man.
Have fun, brother. I will watch the replay. I got to bounce.
I also just want to remind you that there's a few selfies on my phone wearing a big Prime white and black trucker hat right now.
Yes,
Maybe I'll post a little something for you. I took them yesterday.
I'll replay.
I sport it all the time. I like it.
You guys are the best. I honestly can't wait to come see you. Like I'm so like I was watching the replay of when I came to your office last time. It's been too long. So hopefully this madness is over soon and I'll give you a big hug.
Awesome, buddy.
Okay.
Thanks, man. Take care, brother. Welcome to everybody. Once again, that's live here on the webinar, live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on Instagram. Simos, we got hundreds of people right now watching live, and as always, thousands that are going to watch the replay and the recording. We thought it would be a good idea to do a live Q&A today. We get, it's as I mentioned earlier, we've done this now, I think 6 or 7 times. We've had hundreds and hundreds of questions. I think we're up to like 300-400 questions right now. So make sure that you get your questions in the Q&A section. And if you want to come in live with us today, just put up your hand. We'll bring you in like we brought in Justin. Most of you have seen us bring in other REC insiders in the past. But I also wanted to congratulate, and a big, huge congratulations to all the REC insiders that initiated deals from last weekend. I also just saw a little note that came in here that George, I think it was George Clark, forgive me if I mispronounced the name, just also put in a reservation form from last week as well. So huge congratulations for so many people, so many REC insiders from last weekend who initiated a deal, took action, and now are in the process of due diligence. And we say it all the time, right, Simos? Like, I think the biggest tip we can give for investors over this 15 years that we've been doing this, you and I are investors as well, is tie up a deal, tie it up, and then do the due diligence, right? Because how many times have we seen people say, okay, look, I'm going to get back to you, Simos. And we're always like, yeah, no problem, because we're not pushy people. That's not who we are. Like, I hate being pushed to buy a pair of $100 shoes, let alone have the audacity to push somebody to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. But we've heard it so many times, like, okay, Simos, Jas, I'm going to get back to you. And let me do the due diligence. And then by the time that they want to tie up the property, it's gone.
It's been scooped up. So I think the biggest takeaway here is not just the fact that you might lose the opportunity, because there's always more opportunities. But like the thing about real estate and the thing about deal making is you never know what you're going to find. There's no such thing as the perfect deal. And people really need to understand that. A perfect deal is only perfect when everybody wins, which is in many cases what happens. The objective of the seller and the buyer, one is looking to dispose, one is looking to acquire. They both need to come to a term. They both need to come to an agreement. The buyer has everything to lose. The seller has everything to gain from marketing the property and going through with it and getting paid for what they've created, the value they've created, the value of the marketplace. The buyer, on the other hand, when they're entering into a new deal, they have so many steps. They have so many things to do to have their structure properly, their finances right, their accounting team, their corporate structure or personal structure properly organized, lawyer review of terms, conditions, what can come out of the woodwork that can change the deal. So during that due diligence, if you haven't tied up the property, it's not just that you might lose it, you're wasting your time and money. The other side isn't committed. What can also happen is the competitive advantage or disadvantage can change. So if in a week's time that you're doing your due diligence, interest rates get dropped and there's a big announcement, you just had 50,000 more people enter the buyer pool. So your competitive advantage may get affected up or down depending on what's happening in the marketplace. If you identify an opportunity, the very first thing you do is you tie the property up. Now it's the terms, the overall big 3-4 terms are banged out, and the real work starts. Should you find more holes in the deal, you can adjust the price down, and vice versa. Anything can happen.
And look, I mean, there's a reason that there's a Schedule A in the agreement of purchase and sale. That's where you're going to put all your conditions, and you can make it conditional on financing, conditional on home inspection, and if you're buying a condo, you're going to make it conditional on a status report. And or at the end of the day, you can just make it conditional on the lawyer's approval. 5 business days, 10 business days. And that's the time that we get the team working. As Simos said, that's when the work begins. We're going to get you in touch with the mortgage advisor. We're going to get you in touch with a real estate lawyer. We're going to get you in touch with an accountant if you're going to be doing this under a corporation or you're going to do it personally. If you've already set this up, great. But if not, don't let that stop you in the future, because we can get it all done within 5 business days, 10 business days. I mean, there's commercial plazas that we're working on, and seems I think what like those are conditional on due diligence for like 90 days at times, right? Like we always
to 9
ask,
months to 9 months sometimes.
There you go, right? Like we always ask for more. Okay, we use what we call a buyer's offer. It's all lopsided in the buyer's favor. We're going to ask for the price that we want, the closing date, the deposits, and then obviously make it conditional on what, all the stuff that I just mentioned. So guys, as I said earlier, if you're just coming into the webinar, today is going to be a live Q&A with Jas and Simos. A lot of you saw the email that came through to register. We were saying, hey, try to stump us. We like challenges, so make sure that you get your questions in the Q&A section. And if you want to come in live, we would love to see your face. So please put up your hand. I know Bobby Puim, our director of operations, is going to be joining us right now because there were some questions that we've been getting during the week that we thought that would bring a lot of value to everyone who's watching live here on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and watching the recording. So Bobby, why don't you come in, throw some of the questions that we were getting. What's going on, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
Hey, that quarantine beard of yours is getting bigger and thicker. And I gotta say, I'm a little jealous. Like, I love it. I really, really like it, my man.
I just let it go, to be honest, right? Like I want to support local, so when the barber's back,
I had
he
no
can
idea.
take care of it, right? Yeah, why not? I don't have to see anybody. I get to sit at home. It's great.
But nobody would ever tell that you've let it go.
No, no, you couldn't tell. No.
A lot of you might recognize him or not recognize him because of the beard.
Probably not.
Bobby was Bobby's an investor himself, a property manager as well, manages majority of his own properties, and essentially runs a lot of our numbers. He was with Keyspire for I don't know how many years now, Bobby. I forget.
3.5, 4 years almost. Yeah.
You're still there, but you're helping us,
Yeah.
and now you're also with REC and play a huge role as our director of operations, helping out with our team management, our 33 realtors. It was getting a little bit too much for myself and Simos to handle. We needed to bring someone on, and no one better than you, because you got, you're systematized, you got your checklist, you got your thing going on, the Excel spreadsheets and all that stuff happening. So big shout out to you for doing everything you've been and helping us with this past 7-8 months or whatever you've been with us. It feels like you've been with us since day one, my man.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So we've been getting some questions that we thought that would bring some value. There's somebody just saying they recognize you, Halifax. Great. Again, get your questions in the Q&A, guys. Put your hands up if you want to come in live between Simos and Tyler and Bobby. We'll make sure that we get you in live. But there were some questions that we thought, Bobby, that we were getting during the week that we kind of dog-eared to say, hey, this I think would bring some value to everybody who's watching. Why don't you throw some at us, my man?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like a good one to start with here. In a time like this, are you, or do you suggest only looking into investments in unique deals that come up because of the crisis? Or do you continue to invest in regular deals that you would normally, so long as they still make sense?
Simos, go ahead, my man.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy of a question. If the deal makes sense, the deal makes sense. And I think I don't want to humor the participant either. Is this a good time? Because do we think there's going to be a fallout? The Globe and Mail this very morning reported the CMHC is predicting a 9 to 18% drop in Canadian real estate prices. This very morning. This morning, it's 6:45 in the morning. I made myself a coffee, logged into my Globe and Mail app, and I'm looking at the headlines. But if you read the article, of course, it's just headlines. So they predict specific markets can drop up to 18%. And I can tell you with great certainty because I know that some markets have already dropped 18%. I mean, markets that are tied directly to commodities, and we've talked about this almost on every brunch where it's kind of getting redundant. Energy and cyclical markets do what they do, and those prices are affected greatly. But cash flows in those neighborhoods, in those areas of Canada, are always strong, and they're for the right investors there. Is Toronto and Vancouver and Montreal going to go down? The answer is those are major urban centers. Whether they go down or not, over time, they're going to go up. That is what they do, period. So if you're in it to buy today and sell in a year, you're not going to buy with us because we cannot guarantee what happens in the market. And we're not going to watch one of our clients get hurt because of silliness or trying to time the market. We're not day trading real estate. If you're making an investment, you better be on a minimum of 5 year. What do I have here? A little squirrel? I'm trying to speak here, Soph. If you're making a real estate investment and we're talking about $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, whatever the case may be, multifamily, you're not looking at a 6-month short haul. And going back to the question, or if the deal makes sense. So if you're paying $1 million for it and your cash on cash is healthy, your cash on cash return, your cap rate is healthy and in line with all the given metrics that we use to gauge the viability of a deal, of course I'm going to tell you to buy it. It's the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sell you a great property. But what I won't do is I want to buy a residential property in Willowdale where I was yesterday for $4 million. And over the next couple of years, I might be leaving Toronto. Well, know this now that you're playing in the luxury market. Luxury markets get affected very first because it cuts down the legs from residential regular end users, and that might go down 5 or 10%. It might go up 5 or 10%, but it also might get fluctuated down. So don't try to time the market. If you're a real estate investor, we are real estate investment focused brokers, and we will tell you the viability of a deal. Case by case basis, right now, more than ever. More than ever. I hope that answers your question.
Let's in the past brunches that we've done, we've never really got an opportunity to answer everyone's questions. So we're going to try our best today. It's why we said all day today. There is no guests that we're bringing into today's webinar. It's a live Q&A. Keep the questions coming. We're going to do our best to really, I think we're best at rapid fire, and we're going to do our best to get them all answered. So go ahead, Bobby.
All right, guys. Where do we go next? Would you recommend dipping into your savings versus a mortgage? Refinancing is what I'm assuming this person was asking us.
Yeah, I think if you can, I like the word leverage. It's why I like real estate. And so if you can, I would actually use my line of credit, home equity line of credit, and obviously a mortgage. You can just, by leveraging, you're able to buy more property and your returns are better.
Which
Just
leads
remember,
us actually.
It's a simple 20% means 5x. So 20 fits 5 times into 100. Yeah. So every time you think that I'm using 20 cents instead of $1, think of 5x. 10%, 10x. 35%, 0.65x. So it's always, if you're using your own cash, you're putting yourself more at risk.
Which, guys, actually leads us to another one of the questions here. Do you see lenders will lenders stop using home equity line of credit for down payments like TD has? Is that a thing that you guys see coming?
Well, look, I think we have Scotiabank who did it. So right now it's Scotiabank. I don't believe TD started that yet. It is Scotiabank, and it's hard to say. You never know. But look, there's so many more lenders other than the 5-6 majors, right? And that's why I love working with independent mortgage brokers, because they have access to over 477 lenders right across the country. That's not even including private money that's available to investors. I haven't heard anything from the other major banks, just the other 4 or 5 major banks, where they've said that they're going to stop allowing home equity lines of credits as a down payment. Sometimes just because one lender comes out with it, doesn't mean necessarily that all the others are going to follow suit. That's actually, like for TD and Royal Bank now, they have a little bit of a leg up on Scotiabank, because people are going to start to shift over to some of the other lenders.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Simos, something you and I were sort of chatting about the other day, I believe more in the commercial real estate sense, when with June 1st coming up, is there a structure that you guys would recommend for a tenant payment plan if they cannot pay in full?
Sorry, can you just repeat it, buddy?
Yeah, is there a structure that you would recommend for a tenant payment plan if that tenant can't pay their rent in full?
Of course there is. And I mean, that's going to be unique to each situation. But I mean, let's just take an average rent right now, which is a couple $1,000s. Let's just call it $2,000, because we have people from all over the country, but that's kind of really average and normal. So let's say the family income for the tenants used to be $4,000 right now, or $5,000. Now it's $2,000 or $3,000, whatever the case may be. So let's say they've been cut in half. What you want to do as a landlord is you really need to understand that there's costs to getting somebody out. There's costs to turnover. Typically, every time you turn a unit over, you have to paint it. You have to get it professionally cleaned, carpet steamed, whatever the case may be. So there's costs to this. For a landlord to be trigger happy to get someone out because they can't make it, unless you personally as an investor and landlord are in dire strength and where you cannot handle the vacancy, then you got to move fast and do what you got to do to survive. That I understand. But in most cases, you're not in that situation. And in most cases, you need to understand that everybody is human and everybody's susceptible to this kind of change in psychology. A tenant who is not an investor, like as an investor, you're already a strong person because you've made decisions, you've come out and took action, you did things. So as a human being, you're a leader, you're a business owner, and you need to understand that these things can happen and you need to roll with the punches. So for me to go to, so let's say Bobby Puim comes to me and says, Simeon, I've been working, I haven't been working for 2 months. I'm on the CERB, the emergency funding right now. My income is cut in half. I have the kids at home, like it's crazy. Is it okay if I pay 50% of my rent for the next 3 months? And then after that, so when things get back to normal, I'll pay my rent plus 10% and kind of break that over a year. So what you could be also be doing is guaranteeing a beautiful long tenancy with catching up the arrears, which is the deferral, not forgiveness, the deferral. Put it in the back end, they're paying you. You're not charging them interest. You're not doing crazy things. You're working with somebody. You're creating a win-win scenario, and you're also helping a fellow citizen and a fellow human being.
I think, yeah, just to add to it, if I may, like I have a bunch of tenants, right? And it's compassion first, always. If that's the structure that you were going to build out and it was just compassionate and it helps the people that you have working with you, right? Your tenants are your customer base. And the bottom line is that keeping your customer happy is the only thing that property management should be about. So keep them happy, work with them. No structure is perfect, obviously, but any structure is better than the worst case scenario. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
I know we have a bunch of questions in the Q&A as well, Bobby. If you want to start just rifling them at us, man.
Absolutely, guys. If a developer goes bankrupt during these troubled times, what happens to our deposits for pre-construction condos?
Well, your deposits are held in trust with the lawyer. In fact, the the checks that you wrote, you did not write them to XYZ developer or XYZ real estate company. They were written to the law firm that the developer has in place, and so your deposits are held in trust, and so you'll get your money back.
In this market, which segment should we be focusing on? Pre-construction or existing? Pre-construction prices are not going down so far, is the comment to that question.
And I'll tell you why. To that, and because I'm consistently negotiating the terms for our REC insiders, that's how they get into the wheelhouse. The only thing that can happen to prices in pre-construction is they're actually going to go up, if anything, as the global supply chain for construction is bringing on delays, is bringing on shortage. The more we restrict the human resource component, the construction crews, the laborers, the engineers, as we impose more things to keep us safe, policy to keep us safe, like social distancing on sites and everything else, you're just going to delay construction further. Now, I'm not saying one is more important than the other, because clearly health first, or else you have nothing to do. So it's not a competition as to if we're putting health at risk. But the whole idea of this exercise is that prices can only shoot up the more. So the longer the term the developer has to finance the project for, the more the project's going to cost. That cost is not going to be absorbed by the developer. The developer has to make a profit, or else they're not in business. They go bankrupt, they give you your money back, and now you lost 2 years of your money, the opportunity cost. So prices are going to go up further as this thing evolves. Land has not become cheaper. Toronto never gave birth to more Toronto. There's only so much land. There's only so many projects. There's only so much opportunity. And these delays, unfortunately, so if you're going to be going into pre-construction, I would tell you, it should never be your first investment. Your first investment should always be a resale property. And if you are considering pre-construction as your first investment, it's because it makes sense to your finances, meaning you know you're going down a good trajectory. You don't have enough money to close on a mortgage today, and you're leveraging the power of time. So over the next 4 years to do that. So, but just remember, you need control.
And
Jas,
just to add to that, in terms of if it's your first property, I actually think it's a great first investment property, especially if you need time, and you said the word, Simos, time, for your down payment of 20%, because not everyone has $100,000 accessible to them underneath their pillow, and or even a home equity line of credit,
or the ability to close. Even if they have the money, they can't close right now for whatever reason, right?
And so as a first time in investment, I actually think it's a fantastic strategy, because you get to buy time. You lock in a value today for something that's going to be built out 3 years from now. I mean, if we look at our REC insiders that purchased, and they're just in the process of closing this project right downtown Toronto at 330 Richmond. I'm sure there's tons of insiders right now on this webinar watching live. They purchased on average back in 2016, April 2016, they actually purchased these condos on average about $360,000, $370,000. I think it worked out to be like $556, call it $600 price per square foot, but dollars about $360,000. Today, right now, that condo, and I actually just finished doing an assignment where just before it closed, we were selling it for $550 to $560. Right, and the investor there, what do? They put down some checks. They wrote some checks, sorry, and it was about 15% that they only had to write checks for. And so to also add to your comment, Simos, and to the question, I forget who this question came in from, but what should you be looking at, resale or pre-construction? I'm going to say both. Look at both. Not that you're going to invest in both, but look at both and see where the numbers work out better for you. Because if you have the 20% down, then you got to ask yourself, could you close on this right now? Are you wanting to put tenants into a property right now? We're saying probably no, unless there's a guarantee in place, a rental guarantee in place, because if we put in a tenant, we close on something in the next 30, 60, 90 days, and the landlord tenant board's not open yet, we're not going to be able to evict them if they lost their job unless we had a rental guarantee in place. So in that sense, a pre-construction might be a better investment for you. But if there's a rental guarantee in place, then I think you're good to close on a resale in the next 30, 60, 90.
Yeah, and I think you hit it right on the button, Jas. So everybody's circumstances are so unique. That's the funny thing about the Q&A for real estate. Like there's so many variables to each person. And I just want to be very clear to when I say it shouldn't be your first investment or it should be your first investment, because everything that Jas said, I actually not only agree with, it's Bible. So I want to clear my position where I stand on that is if you are a first-time investor, like in your beginning stages, my position, so what I would do, because what Jas just said about pre-construction, me and Jas it's not a secret because it was public, it was a front page cover of Real Estate Wealth magazine in Canada last March, I think, which was our story of how we built our first 7 figures in net worth. It was legit our roadmap. We bought here, sold here, doubled up here, tripled down there. Published, it's not a secret of how we did it. And we did it with the strategy that Jas is talking about. What I'm talking about is I'm the guy with $50,000 or $100,000, whether I have the money now or I don't. If I have the ability to close right now in a resale, I would buy a resale. Why? Because I can close on it if something happens tomorrow, because I'm not a well-rounded investor yet. My age or my career is not where it needs to be yet. I can sell that property in an instant if I had to.
And Simos, the interest rates as well, like from a resale perspective, there is no better. We've never seen interest rates.
And it's guaranteed.
Right now. And it's guaranteed because you can lock in an interest rate for 5 years right now, I believe. And I'm sure we have some mortgage brokers here on the webinar. Shoot us a comment and give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down if I'm off. But I think you can close on a 5-year fix for like 2.4% or something right now. Like that's ridiculous.
And that's just it. So what I'm saying is, if you have the ability to close on a property, do that. Because now you're going to be getting experience with running a property and everything else. But if you don't, let's say you only have like 30, 50,000 bucks. And I can put you in a deal that closes in 2 years, like last week, like the Towns, for example. They're not capital intensive, meaning they don't need a lot of money over the next little while. Get in now and lock in that price. In 2 years from now, I don't want to use silly words like guarantee you, but I can give you an extremely educated guess that they're going to be worth 5 to 10% more. If you only put 5 or 10% down and the properties with 5 or 10% more, you doubled your money in 2 years. So that's what Jas is saying. Oh no, it is a good. Of course, it's a great investment. It's an incredible investment, and we did it. But that's how you gauge. That's kind of where you go with your logic.
I just saw a comment coming in asking if there's still anything left from last week. There is a few units left in from the opportunities last week. You just go to reccanada.com /for sale, and you can get the information if you did miss out from last week's brunch. There's a few units left, and so it's reccanada.com /for sale. Bobby, I like seeing your face. I really do. But can we bring someone else in live? I saw some hands come up. I want to get someone that you don't leave. I
was just thinking that. Yeah.
Right. Like I want to see someone else's face. I like your face. I love the beard. I told you about this. Simos says pink shirt. I love it as well. But I would love to see a new face.
Yeah. I just need somebody to raise their hand. Somebody clicked it and then went away. They disappeared on me. Who of our insiders wants to raise their hand?
As you raise your hands, I see here, do we have contacts for appraisals and other trades? Guys, our REC concierge, Tyler Walburn, not the Phenom, because that's Luke listening. I shouldn't say the Phenom.
The air traffic controller.
Air traffic control, Ty. He runs our REC concierge services. It's part of a world-class service promise. If you need an appraisal, I don't care where in Canada. I don't know if you need a painter, if you need a plumber, Ty is your boy. We're deeply tied to many different contractors and outsourcing of services that are peer reviewed and client reviewed. So we can put you in touch with the winning people in any business So please do yourself a favor and give Tyler a call. All our information is up here, and it doesn't cost you shit. Good morning.
I love that you said that. I love you said that because there's no cost to
That's right.
cost to it whatsoever. For the REC concierge services, just email info@reccanada.com, info@reccanada.com, and say that I need a painter in Saskatchewan. Tyler's job is to find the painter, and so make sure you make use of that, because it keeps Tyler having a job. So make sure to send that email, info@reccanada.com. And if you need a painter somewhere right across the country, or a home inspector, or an appraiser, as Simos mentioned, just shoot us an email and Tyler will get that done. Is there someone coming in?
I just saw Cecilia Farrell talking cottages. Get her in here, Bobby. Find her.
All right.
Cecilia Farrell, put up your hand.
Let's find her.
Spot. What's up, girl? Cecilia Farrell.
Where are you at, Cecilia? She's been promoted to a panelist. I hope she's ready for her camera to go on, guys.
She better be.
Let's go.
Where is that beauty? I love
How
it.
do we do this one here? Let's unmute Cecilia. There we go.
There you go. Cecilia, are you there?
Oh, I've hit unmute a couple of times. I don't know, guys. I can't seem to get her.
Hi,
Oh no, Hi, how you doing?
doing well. Oh my
What's up,
goodness.
Blair?
Can you
What's up,
see me?
girl?
We can see you.
I'm at my cottage.
Much
love
easier on
you.
the Cecilia, much easier on the eyes than these other three faces
Are
that
you talking
everyone
about the
sees on the
background? I
screen.
hope you're talking about the background there.
No, we're talking about you.
Okay, I'll
how,
accept that.
how you doing?
I'm doing well. My
Awesome.
question is obviously related to my current location.
Why do you want to talk about your question? You beautiful woman.
Sorry.
You're in a beautiful northern Canada. I
Here,
just
I'm
want to
gonna stop the
enjoy that
video.
picturesque view.
All right. Thanks,
So
Emily.
your question.
Yeah. Oh, do you want me to say my question?
Yeah, we want to know what your
My
question is.
question was about cottage properties. So it had a part A and a part B. Part A was how have cottage properties changed in value as a result of COVID? And part B was would you recommend that I turn my 3-season cottage into a 4-season cottage for rental purposes? Because as you know, Airbnb and rentals are being affected by COVID. Is it an investment worth investing in?
I'll take the part A. Simos, you can touch on part B, and
Sure.
Bobby can also touch on that too, because Bobby's a veteran when it comes to Airbnb stuff. Part A, I think it's still too early in terms of values, specifically to your market. Just like anything else, there's the macro market of real estate and cottages. So we definitely want to look at like exactly where you are, and so just send us your address, and we'll have one of our realtors in that specific area to see if there's been any major drops. But we haven't seen like major drops on values yet. Because I think it's still too early. I think it's too early from a recreational property point of view. Generally speaking, those do get hit first because people are just not wanting to keep, like they need to keep their principal residence, right? And the focus and on all the money goes to the principal residence. But right now, I haven't seen any major drops, so I think you're safe. For the time being. In terms of the Airbnb and going into 4 seasons, boys, why don't you guys take that?
Yeah, I'll just pipe in 1 second because Airbnb, Bobby knows it so well. I'll let him speak to that. I do agree with Jas. As I mentioned earlier, luxury markets and of course recreational markets always get hit first in any time that the economy is jeopardized. So the first thing people cut is vacations, they cut spending, and they kind of go on the defense. That's naturally what people do. Most people, not freaks like us that double down in any type of chaos. But anyways, normal people go on the defense, and those markets get affected first. In your case, and this is where I want Bobby to come in, how do you leverage people's natural defense of cutting spending and leveraging that into your Airbnb income? Bobby, why don't you share what you've done the last 2 months, bro?
Yeah, I mean, frankly speaking, we got lucky. We were just sort of first to the market with the idea that you could quarantine yourselves away from home. Anybody traveling back, anybody that was just sick of their surroundings, we made it so that people could quarantine themselves at our Airbnbs, blocking off sections of days, requiring 14-day bookings, things of that nature. It's not always going to be like that. It's obvious that it's not always going to be like that. But at the end of the day, what you have to understand about Airbnb or VRBO, home away, any short-term rental is, frankly speaking, guys, it's a business. And you have to be in tune with running that business like you would anything else. If you're an absentee business owner, it's going to go awry on you flat out. So I love it. I run it. It takes up a strong 50% of my time. Let's also put that out there. But it can be done. So if you're comfortable with that, right, you have to understand sort of the ins and outs. I'm always here to help, just like Tyler is on everything else. This is why I'm a part of the REC, so that I can help with investment strategies of this nature. But yeah, I love my stuff. We were 100% booked over the last, actually somebody just left yesterday. It's the first time we've been vacant over the last 8 weeks, which is an amazing stretch for the Airbnb business that I run, but it isn't always like that either. So always just have that aware.
Cecilia, I hope that brought some value to your question.
I guess, if I may, in the part A part of my question, it wasn't, I guess the question wasn't so much about it being a luxury property or a second property. I realize second properties probably aren't something that people are looking for, but more so for, I guess, a slightly different market that can afford a property. Would they be looking for something like this because they can't, they're physically not allowed to leave the country now that they see that this is a possibility in a pandemic situation? There are people, as you say, that are looking for a place to rent because like long-term rentals have contacted me. Can we stay for a month? Can we rent out your cottage for a whole month or longer because we can't leave the country? So anyhow, that was.
But I think to your point, I think that demand is going to increase.
For sure.
And I think
dying to get out.
Cecilia, yeah. I think what you should do, Cecilia, is connect with Bobby offline for real, and maybe put a mini strategy together to try something new on your script. Like, so when you do get contacted, what do you say?
Yeah.
Because
I might just rent your place for a month in the summer, depending on where it is.
Well, see, this is just it. What do I say? I say, well, I'm not sure. I'm just up here now. It's just the end of my first week here with my kid and his friend. And I'm thinking, I think I just want to stay here all summer, actually. So maybe I don't want to rent it to him. Maybe I'll rent out my home in Toronto instead.
And here's an idea. Here's a business idea. If someone can take care of my 6-year-old and 4-year-old for the month as well, I'm down. I'll pay for the whole month in cash. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Cecilia,
and
what a
love
pleasure
the
to
support.
see you, girl.
Always a pleasure to see you, Simeon. All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to bring in some more people live, but let's get to these Q&As that are sitting in the Q&A section. Let's have this, let's make the objective to rip through all these questions and make sure that we bring a lot of value to people. And then maybe we'll go back live, guys.
Absolutely. Jas, are you getting any pre-construction assignment contracts? And if so, how do we find out about them? This is from Brian in West Van.
What's up,
Smart.
Brian?
Brian's a smart man.
Brian's
Right?
a very, very smart man. Brian, I'm going to be coming out with assignment deals in the next couple of weeks. We just finished. We had about 4 to 5. And make sure you're part of the text community, guys, because that's where I send it out first. It's text. reccanada.com. You just got to go to the landing page. Make sure you're part of the text community. Brian, make sure to send Tyler an email, info@reccanada.com, and set up a coffee with me during this week. Let me know kind of your current situation, and then I'll make sure that I can tell you about the next opportunity that I have coming up when it comes to an assignment. But I should have about 2-3 in the next week or 2. But let's get a coffee set up, Brian, and I'll get you like down the right path.
Jazzy, do me a favor. Explain quickly for those that don't know, because we have we literally have hundreds of people on this call today. I'm looking at the numbers again. So many people might not know what that is. Just give me a really quick summary. What is Brian referring to?
So Brian's referring to an assignment deal. It's where the original purchaser, Bobby Puim, would have bought a condo 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and now he wants to sell it before the actual closing. Simos, the new purchaser, is going to come on board and purchase it from Bobby. Bobby, knowing that Simos is an investor, is going to leave meat on the bone. And so it's one of the only ways right now, one of the only ways, there's maybe another one or two, but one of the only ways where you can buy under market value in the Greater Toronto area. Why? Because Bobby, he's making his profit, he's making profit, but he's leaving money on the table because he knows he has to, if he doesn't want to close on it, if he wants to sell it before it gets built. And so we see assignees, and that's what Brian would be. He'll be the new purchaser. We see assignees have about $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 of built-in equity the day they sign an assignment deal.
I could go on this for days, but I won't because I want to go on rapid fire.
I want to get to the rest of the Q&A.
But
guys,
I hope everybody understands what Jas said, because he really broke it down very simply. It's just the ability to move a contract before it closes. I strongly urge those that have a few bucks ready to reach out to Jas via the text community. When those deals come out, they're always strong, and you literally can make, like, honestly, 5 to 6 figures in an afternoon. Like, I'm not joking. Yeah. It's not like it's for real. Get on that list and take a look at those deals. Just look at them.
The 5 that we did in the last 45 to 60 days, the investor made on average $65,000 the day they signed.
Guys, same topic. Can you assign to a family member at the original purchase price? And do you pay capital gains on assignment transactions?
Can you assign to a family member? Yes, you can.
At the original purchase price specifically. Sounds like somebody wants to move their contract.
Sure, you can. Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. Now, you pay capital gains on assignment transactions.
So that's taxation. So I will always preface it with saying that we are not accountants and tax lawyers, but I do have a lot of experience in the field. And in my personal opinion, because I'm not allowed to give you a professional opinion, I will tell you that capital gains is applicable, but income tax may also be applicable. So if you are moving assignments as a business, so when we're talking about making money on flipping paper, it's become so mainstream that people are just doing that as a business because there is so much money in it, and the government did figure it out. The government does mandate lawyers that every time they do an assignment transaction to declare it to CRA. If you are doing this as a business, you will be hit with income tax. If you are doing it to your family member or to a regular client because you didn't have the ability to close because of divorce, death, or whatever for life reasons, you would be paying capital gain on any profit. But yes, capital gains and income tax may be applicable to the assignment provisions.
Guys, Simon Glantz has asked if we can elaborate on what a rental guarantee is.
Go ahead, Joey.
Rental guarantee, it's the developer, the builder, the seller guaranteeing on paper in writing the amount of rent. And so even if it's not rented, you're going to get your first and last month's rent, a certified check, and 10 post-dated checks. Guaranteed. It's exactly what it is. I think it was Simon. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a guarantee on rent, but we need to make sure we have it in writing. It's not going to be, we're not going to take anyone's word for it. So we need it in writing, and it's all taken care of at closing. Sometimes when it's done with a developer, they actually become your tenant. They become your tenant, and then they sublease it to tenants afterwards. But it's exactly that. It's a guarantee on paper.
Awesome. You guys want to bring in our boy Aaron Baboolal for a question?
Yeah, for sure. What's up, Aaron?
Oh yeah.
How you doing? Oh, you're on mute.
Oh.
Let us unmute you. One sec. One sec.
Aaron, you might be able
What's
to do
going
it,
on,
my man.
guys? How we doing?
Good morning, fine sir.
Doing
How
well.
you doing?
Oh, doing fantastic. Sun shining, everything's going. You know what? You cannot smile. Question for you guys. You know, honestly, like I said, with a little bit of my network being majority of the first-time home buyers, you know, what would you say for all the first-time home buyers out there with all the information that's coming out? You know, what would you say to them in terms of, I would not say the first step, but ideally, like, what direction would you lean towards with all the information that's coming at them right now?
Well, the first things first is sit down with a mortgage broker. Both Simos and I, and all of our realtors on our team, we like to think that we're the most important people in the process. I like to think I'm the most important person in general, but the truth of the matter is, in this situation, when you're thinking about buying, especially as a first-time home buyer, the mortgage broker is the most important person. Why? Because they're going to be able to tell us what our budget's going to be in terms of, like, everyone looks at the purchase price, and yeah, that's important. But at the end of the day, what's more important is the actual carrying costs, mortgage payment, property tax, if it's a condo fees. But then there's all the other stuff, right? There's the utilities, there's the internet, there's, I don't know if people have home phones still, but there's all the other expenses, insurances that need to be put into place. And so sitting down with the mortgage broker, in my opinion, is the most important step. And then not only staying within your budget, I want you to drastically try to stomach the least amount of home you possibly can. I think this is my biggest tip after 15 years dealing with thousands of first-time home buyers, is that stomach the least home possible. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you can stomach a 500 to 600 square foot condo, or if you need a home because you have a couple of kids or whatever it is, you have a family, you're thinking about growing a family, you don't need to have 2,500 square foot or 3,000 square foot homes just because your cousin's got it. I want you to stomach the least amount of home possible and then invest the rest. Because real wealth creation in real estate is made by investing into real estate. So stomach a little bit of a smaller home. Like, you probably don't need 1,000 square foot condo. You can probably get away with 500 to 600 square feet. Like, you know, I lived in condos my whole life. I live in a home right now, but especially during quarantine, I've noticed how much actual square footage I use. It's very little of square footage that I actually use. And so if you can stomach the least home possible and then invest the rest, that's the best tip I can give you.
Absolutely, that's amazing. And you're right. It's all about the perspective of how much you can stomach.
That's it.
For a first-time home buyer, I wish we had the ability to do a quick poll, but I don't want to kill our time for rapid fire. What I will say to this is the Canadian Mortgage Housing Corporation, CMHC, they have a tremendous program that if you're buying as a first-time home buyer, a resale or a pre-construction, a new home from the builder, you can qualify for 5 or 10% in their joint program, where it means that they will give you 5 or 10%, depending on the deal, in first position, meaning like they're going to take your gain or your loss over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So they will be joint owners with you, but they can help you make your home ownership dream a reality. And we had somebody from our own team the other day argue that that wasn't a good idea. And I almost pulled the hair out of my head, saying, like, if you can get into home ownership,
Get in the door.
it is the
What hair
only
do you
thing-
have, first of all? What hair did you pull out of your
You know
head?
what? I quit.
What hair did you pull out of your head, buddy? I love you. Go. Sorry.
It's all been pulled out, Jas. I would strongly tell every first-time home buyer to get educated. Reach out to us. We'll give you some. We'll give you some places to go do your research. Please do your research. Get all the funding that you can. Get into the market. First-time home buyer, become a home buyer now.
Thanks, Aaron.
And Aaron, just real quick, my man, I think you and I go back and forth on this a lot. Like,
Yeah.
find your expert. You know what I mean? Aaron is very, very good at these things. Jas and Simeon, decades worth of knowledge when it comes to this stuff. I mean, I fancy myself an investor and an understander of these things as well. Come to us with these issues, you know, we can help. The REC can help do these things.
For sure.
Thanks,
Definitely.
Aaron.
No problem, guys. Take care.
Awesome. I've got an interesting one here. I've always found this interesting, you guys. Being an investor, people want to get into it and they want to get into it big time. So help somebody navigate this one. Can a group of investors get together and pool their money and then build their own project? It seems that the developer collects the unit buyers and uses the money to build. And then that makes them 30 to 50% profit. Can we do the same and reduce our costs to own? Tackle that one.
Simos.
There's a lot there, right?
There's a
No
lot
problem.
there, yeah.
So there actually, so I will tell you, there actually isn't a lot there. And there is a lot there because a lot of people think that developing is, they underestimate the complexity, the cost of time in development. And I would tell everybody to pay heed to experience. Not that you can build experience other than by doing something. So I'm not trying to tell people not to try something. What I'm going to tell people is when you're joint venture, always joint venture with people that have experience and expertise in the field. Development is not a joke. That 30 to 50% margin that you speak of does exist, but I can assure you that ignorance, and I mean not knowing what to do, will chew that 30 to 50% up in 2 seconds flat. And you're going to find yourself in the red deep if you don't know what you're doing. And the things that you don't know that you're doing, just to give you a very short list, would be time, interest, planning, zoning, construction, crews and human resources, recourse and mitigation. Neighbors and neighborhood can put a 1-year spin on things. I can go on forever of the things that can go wrong, but when you have people who are experienced and have gone through these things, magically they all disappear because they know what to do. So I would not say that it's a great idea for a bunch of people to get together, pitch in a couple $100,000 each and go to market with a few $1 million because it's going to get lost. I would tell you to go to networking events, high value networking events, meet a few developers and say, hey man, I have a couple $100,000. Can I come in with you on the next project? I have this experience. Can I come in with you on the next project? Slowly but surely run an expert group.
Sometimes there's easier ways to. Sometimes there's easier ways to make money as well than having all that headache and all that stress, right? And so you don't always have to try to catch your own tail, right? And so run around and catch your own tail. Like there's easier ways to make money. You might not see the 40 to 50%, but you'll see 32, 33 and have no headache, right? And so just something to think about for that person.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, sorry.
No, it's guys, I once underestimated the length of time it would take to renovate a basement, and carrying costs nearly ate my lunch. I can't imagine doing something that you are not an expert in on the level of a development.
Yep.
Man. Looking ahead to what may happen with universities moving to online education in September, I'm concerned securing rent for the next year. Do you have any thoughts on how this may pan out and how to weather this significant cash flow strain?
I guess this is a student housing question. I just heard something yesterday that University of Toronto is setting up and preparing to be open for September 1st. I think you just need to look at what school, what area are you in terms of weathering the storm. Start preparing now. Cut expenses in other places if you can, in case you have vacancies. But look, I don't know if we're gonna have a lot of schools like that are not going to open up and be prepared for the fall, right? I don't think that they're going to I definitely don't think that they're going to shift their curriculum all online, because they can't charge as much as they can charge for live school, live classes. And let's not forget, these universities, they're businesses. And so they need to charge as much as they possibly can. To think that they're going to move everything to online curriculum, I just don't see that happening.
Simos, you want to weigh in, my man?
There's too much uncertainty in that field yet. As far as I'm concerned, in the short term, if people think that, so I know of at least 4 of my good friends that are about just about 10 years older than me. Yeah, they're all between 48 and 52, and their kids are in university right now. Okay, I've spoken to at least 4 people who called me on their way to St. Catharines to Brock, on the way to Montreal, etc., to tell me that they're going to give their payments down. And they called me, they're pissed off. They're like, is this normal that they're charging me the whole year's rent up front? Is this normal that I have to pay for 12 months, for 12 months while the school is only 9 months? I was like, yes, it's normal. And yes, you need to be on your way there. So they're actually paying, because they don't know that they're not going to risk their kid losing a year or having to scramble to put them in hotels. So people are booking student housing right now. So even if there was going to be a change in behavior and in the long term with online, I don't believe you can make an engineer from home. I just don't. I don't believe you can make a chemist from home. I don't think you can study biology and dissect a pig on your Zoom call. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, there's going to be some changes. There's going to be a lot of changes or little changes. I just not going to speculate. I'm telling you for sure that this year is not going to be that different from last. Will the following one be different? We'll see. But the world is not going to flip on its head as a result of a health crisis. It's just not. I think we're going to see a lot of slow changes, implementation in other areas, etc. Student housing, universities, colleges, since the beginning of time have been around, and they will be. Online universities have been around for 20 years now. This isn't something new. You know what I mean? So like online university is not new by any means. So it's I just don't think it's going to change that much. So going back to what Jas said, I won't give a different opinion because there's not enough data. Not enough data.
Donna Hoskins has asked, guys, since the 1% rule or the 0.06% rule doesn't work in many markets, what do you use as an alternative quick check? Do you guys have any quick checks that you use?
Well, we like to see what comparable rents. And what's up, Donna? How you doing from beautiful, beautiful British Columbia? We're looking at comparables. What are rents? What are comparable units, condo units or homes renting for in the area that we're going to invest in? And that's how we determine our rental numbers. It's all based on facts. And if it's a pre-construction condo that we're looking at, we forecast, for example, if it's going to be built 3 years from now, we'll put a bump on what today's rent is, very like ultra conservative bump by 3.5%. Pre-COVID, we saw a little over 11.1% year over year increase on rent in the Greater Toronto area. So we use 3 to 4% year over year. In terms of a forecast for a pre-construction condo. But Donna, we're looking at comparable rents, and that's comparable rents for the area that we're investing in.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I got a shout out here in the questions to me specifically. Bobby, with Rental Property Management, the best platform to qualify renters. You guys want to take a stab at this?
No, this is you. That you got the shout out. They want you to answer, my man.
Right, guys.
Bobby.
Do you want to know what I do? I call Tyler at REC Canada, and he takes care of it for me. Right?
What time is it, Bobby?
It's game time. Ooh. Anybody else watching Last Dance? Oh my goodness. It's the Michael Jordan of documentaries.
It's yeah, no, it is the Michael Jordan of documentaries for sure.
Uh, guys, I mean, for anybody on Brunch today that knows me even a little bit, they know that I started with Keyspire, and I took a lot away from Keyspire. And one of the biggest things that I took away was education is key. Always educating yourself. And that's also why I've come on board at REC Canada, because you can learn all of these things. When it comes to property management specifically, we have a funnel that we create, and anybody can do this. We get it out to as many people as possible, the Kijijis, the Facebook marketplaces of the world. We even have our agents, like Simos and I work with the agents to put these things out onto MLS. And then we just have a funnel that comes in, and we, as many eyes as possible, as many applications as possible, as many credit checks as possible. And that way you're always just going to be most secure. There's no right answer. You can do this a million ways, but educate yourself on how to do this. If you have any questions, please just call one of us. Right? Maybe Ty could put my email directly into the chat so that people can just reach out with their questions, and that we're always just here to help. There is no one way to do this, no one way to skin a cat, right? So let us help.
And really quickly to add to that, like our team has always focused on selling homes and condos. So obviously when you're selling a home and you're selling a condo, there's a lot more that goes into it from a marketing perspective. How to price it, those are the two main things really, the pricing and how to market a home or condo, and then just how does it show? Like, is it decluttered? Is it staged? So we take that same mindset that we've always had to sell properties into the rental market. And so from a landlord's, like when we're protecting a landlord, we're thinking about it from the same mindset. How are we going to price this? How are we going to show it? And how is this going to be marketed? And it's the same concept. The only difference is that the prices are just different. We're talking about purchase prices when we're selling, and we're talking about monthly rents when we're in the landlording business.
Gentlemen, believe it or not, we have dried up a majority of the Q&A today. You guys are killing it.
Awesome. I was hoping we
Mitch
could finish.
Parmasar!
What's up, Mitch? Bring him in.
Bring in Mitch. Where we go.
A little shout out to Mitch that everybody that does not know. Mitch works for a tremendous wine importer, and he is a very important source of my wine consumption. He is also an avid and savvy investor. And
There he is. Hey guys.
How you doing?
What's
Good
up?
looking.
Good. Always nice to start a Saturday morning with you guys.
That means
Sure.
a lot. That means a lot, my man. It means I speak for all of REC Canada when I say thank you. Thank you so much for all the support and the loyalty. You know, there's over 55,000 realtors just alone in the Greater Toronto area, Mitch, and you stuck through with us a few times now, and you continue to. It really means so much to us. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny enough, Bobby, you wouldn't remember me. I didn't have the beard then, but I also came through the Keyspire way, and Bobby was the guy, the team lead, when I did the 3-day session. So it's funny.
Mitch, let's be clear. You are unforgettable, young man. Of course I remember you.
It's nice to know after you see so many faces. But
I'm not going to lie, Bobby shocks me. He's met thousands of people. He remembers every single person.
I know.
He's nuts.
I am impressed too. I mean, like for the amount of people I've seen, and just that one session was incredible. You know, part of the team building process, as you know, Simeon, it's funny, you just reached out to me and we were able to connect, and we've done quite a few deals now. I'm really excited. In fact, the last deal we closed in the middle of COVID on a commercial deal. So, you know, when COVID hit, everything got antsy, but I'm happy that, you know, the numbers made sense and your team was really supportive. But I'm going on to a new venture now where we're going to continue to expand the commercial side of the business. And I'm going to be raising capital through joint venturing. In your experience, is it better that you do on the commercial side, you find joint venture partners that can do, let's say we're aiming for about a 20% down payment to raise that portion of the capital. is it better to find financial partners that can take care of that full amount? Or is it better sometimes to break it up into $25,000 increment or $50,000 increment on a per project basis?
Yeah, so I will tell you, the more people that you put with small money in, is typically the less money people have and are willing to joint venture with. And this is not a generalization or a judgment at all. Typically, they're going to be less savvy. Typically, you're going to have more headaches. So the less cooks in the kitchen, the better off the deal will be. So you're not going to have to answer to 16 different people every 3 months. Where's my money? How is my money doing? Where is it going at? So I think what you need to do, especially on your first one, and you haven't done a joint venture before, try to focus on putting, let's call it 100,000 each. 5 people put 100,000 each. See how that goes.
Right.
Make sure, reach out to me after. I'll connect you with 2 lawyers that we've done joint venture skeleton agreements with on how the
Right.
terms, how often do you need to do reporting? How often do you need to provide updates? How often, when can people get their money out? What are the shotgun clauses to buy each other out if you need to? If I have a family emergency, again, marital situation, death in the family, all the other things that can happen in life, what happens? I need out today. What happens? Do I put the whole upside down, or can everybody pitch in a few bucks, or one person? All those very important things need to be not on a napkin, not written. They need to be in everybody's safety deposit box, that if something happens, everybody knows the rules and regulations. We're talking about big money. We're talking about real deals that affect everyone. So you can't let my unfortunate circumstances affect your life, and vice versa.
Right.
And Mitch, to Simos's point about less cooks in the kitchen, that's a huge point. I would even advise you, or at least think about, depending on like work your numbers, but leave even a little extra money on the table from your perspective to have less people involved. So I would rather raise more money just from 2 people, right, and give them a higher return than have 7 people, because at one point it's just people's lives change and situations change, that the less people involved in the decision making, especially if you're the one who's putting it all together and you're gonna be the one who's gonna be actually working, then I would say less people and just leave a little extra money on the table for them. Just raise more money from less people.
Right. Okay. Good advice, guys. Thanks a lot on that.
Yeah,
Thanks
no
for
problem,
everything,
Mitch.
my man.
Thank you for coming on and joining us. I wish you all the continued success in every venture that you take on, and a huge reminder that we're here for you every step of the way, pal.
Wonderful. No, you guys have been a great team for me so far. So, happy to continue working.
Awesome.
Thank
you. Happy swimming, Cecilia. She's up at the cottage. Cecilia's commenting. She's jumping in the lake. Good.
Anything else in the Q&A that we didn't get to?
Yeah, we got a couple of quick ones here. Ready? How do developers determine rental guarantee amounts for long-term projects? This is from Robin Thompson. She goes on to say, goes on to say, I bought a pre-con on Tippett Road in North York in 2016. The project's been delayed even before COVID. I'm concerned that the rental guarantee amount is less than market since the project has been delayed.
So what we do when we get rental guarantees, we tell the developer what we want as a rental guarantee. We don't take what they tell us, otherwise we're just not going to do the deal. We have enough experience in knowing that we want to run our own numbers. In terms of your property at Tippett, I know it very, very well. I'm not sure which one it is because there's a few there, but I hope that your rental guarantee is written in a way that you don't need to take the rental guarantee. Don't take it. And I say that because if the market's outperforming the number, then let's just rent it out. Get in touch with us. We'll rent it out for you, or we'll just teach you how to do it. We're definitely come from the philosophy of we're going to teach you how to fish so you can feed yourself for life. And so just don't take that actual guarantee. There's been projects that myself and Simos have personally invested in. We did have a rental guarantee. When it came to, we were like, we don't want your rental guarantee. The market's performing by $400 or $500 more a month. We'll be fine renting it out ourselves.
But also remember, the rental guarantee, it's based, like, the developer's not going to give a rental guarantee that's cash flow negative. He's going to give you a rental guarantee that's cash flow neutral. So the minute you're at zero, he's basically guaranteeing that you're not going to be in the hole based on your purchase price. So if the market is there, great, don't use it, clearly. But if the market's not quite there, then you have that security blanket and you can sleep at night like a champ. So, but yeah, all those Tippett Road investments, don't even talk about rental guarantee. You bought it, you probably made $250,000. So save your rental guarantee commentary. You're rich.
From Donna Hoskins, once again, in a VTB, the vendor stays on title. How does the buyer investor secure their position?
In the VTB, just so I understand that question, Bobby, you want to repeat that again, Bobby?
Yeah, in the VTB, the vendor stays on title. How does the buyer investor secure their position?
Okay, so I'll take this one. The vendor does not stay on title. So a vendor takeback is a mortgage. It's a charge against the title. So if I'm buying Jas's house today, Jas, here is $50,000 for your small shed house. Here's $50,000, and I can't get financing. So you need to give me back a mortgage for $25,000. Jas says, okay, I'll sell my house for $50,000, and I'll give you a mortgage for $25,000. The house transfers title to Simeon for $50,000. I put either my equity or my mortgage with CIBC first, and Jas is in second or first position with his mortgage against the property. He is not on title of the property anymore. He would only have recourse if I defaulted and could not pay him. He could exercise his right to take claim or sell the property. Now, can I buy your house for $25,000, Jas?
No problem.
We've got one from an anonymous attendee. Just came in this very moment.
I
right?
love those.
Who are you? We need to know.
Never know what these anonymous people are doing back there.
We never know who you are.
Go on.
To become a real estate investor, is it better to become a real estate agent or broker or a mortgage agent or broker before investing? And does the profession give you some idea of experience in real estate investing?
I'll take this one because it's why I got into the business 15 years ago. I thought I was going to learn how to invest into real estate by getting my license until it came into the mail. Like once the books came in the mail, I realized it's a course on how to become a real estate agent. And because I come from a sales and service background, I was like, okay, I might as well do this. I'm sure I'm going to learn something in terms of investing into real estate by doing this course. It teaches you nothing. In fact, it teaches you nothing on how to sell real estate. Believe it or not, it's just so you don't get sued when you're protecting your clients.
Legal disclaimer.
Yeah. So it's just the course is so you don't get sued by clients, and so you know what you're doing. It teaches you nothing about investing. To fully answer your question, I wouldn't waste I think it's like $5,000 now. I did this 15 years ago, so I don't know anymore, but I think it's about $5,000 from the day you start your first phase to like when you actually have a license and a business card. I think you got like a year. The average person does it in a year or something. I wouldn't waste the time. I just would not waste the time. You don't pay a broker that you work with when you're investing into real estate. So if you purchase a home in downtown Toronto or a pre-construction condo, you don't pay that broker. Their fee is paid. The real estate broker's fee is paid by the seller of the home, the seller of the condo, the developer. Same thing as from a mortgage broker point of view. 99.9%, there is a 0.1% of the time where there is a fee that's charged from a mortgage broker, depending on how creative he or she needs to get, but you don't pay them either. So look, my macro thesis on it is don't waste the time. Just don't waste the time. Go and get your money right, get your team right, and let the experts handle what they do best. and just go start investing.
So I would like to share this. This is the only course that actually ever taught me anything about real estate investment analysis. And this is not and of course, it's not a mandatory course in the real estate courses, because if this had to be mandatory, probably 50% of what a real estate agent now wouldn't be real estate agents. It's quite a difficult course to get through. And even this doesn't teach technique; it teaches math. It teaches ways for how to calculate time value of money. Like it's a lot more advanced and kind of gets into big numbers. If you are looking to be an effective real estate investor, nothing will give you more value than networking and building strong teams. Be around, like your nightcap, Jas.
Yeah.
Every single night, there's 10, 20, 30, 50, 60 networking real estate focused people. Like, yeah, there's going to be other people in and out, but every night you kind of see the same type of people, the same kind of questions coming in. And it's very interesting to see where people gather. So whether they're on Facebook, at your local pub, on a nightcap on Instagram, etc., always be thinking, where can I find like-minded people? How can I sit down with Simos and pick his brain about what he studied on this book? Because I can tell you that I'm not the only person who knows about real estate investing. There's thousands of smart, sharp, great people out there that are waiting for you to meet them. You've got to get out there. That's how it happened. Enroll in courses like this if you want to. I can give you resources if you're a studious person. I'll give you some tips and courses to take. I'm currently enrolled in Cornell University online for another commercial designation because I believe in self-improvement and self-education. But there's lots of stuff you can do. But I would start with networking and mind sharing and masterminding first.
And a tip on networking, you can't be anonymous.
Can't be anonymous.
Just saying, right? Like for this webinar, like all joking aside, that's all cool. But if you're going to go out there, you got to put yourself out there. It's going to be tough the first time that you go into a room of 50 people virtually even, or if you come on like nightcaps and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it is going to be uncomfortable. But everything that you want in life is slightly outside your comfort zone. Think about anything that you've ever had in your life. It was slightly outside of that comfort zone. And I can tell you the nicest people, the people that like to share the most is real estate investors. I didn't even know how much people like to talk. Like, I don't care if somebody has 67 doors or 670 doors or has no doors. Everybody wants to tell their story when it comes to real estate investing. You will be shocked the amount of people that will come and say, yes, let's sit down and let me tell you my story. And so, but you can't be anonymous. You cannot be anonymous when you get out there. So you got to put yourself out there a little bit.
Jas, talking about anonymous, I saw Don Bowman.
Let's
put up
Don
his hand.
Bowman. Let's bring him in here.
Bring him in here. Bring in Don.
Let's
Love
see
this
what we
guy.
can do.
I met his entire family about 4 years ago.
Don's awesome. I love this guy. I was just speaking to him yesterday or 2 days. No, I felt like yesterday. I think it was 2 days before that. Yeah.
All right. Don, you should be able to unmute, sir.
There he is. How you doing, Don?
Good, how are you?
Good. What's happening?
Lord, can you
How
just
you
turn the
doing,
light
man?
on? We're just trying to actually get some light on the subject here. That's a little better.
That's better. How you doing, buddy? Good morning.
Good, how are you?
Good, bro. Nice to see you.
Yeah. We had to restart our tablet, so I think our question disappeared.
Okay.
Hey, that's why you're in live.
Yeah.
The serendipity of it is amazing.
So our triplex in London seems to be attracting a particular niche of tenants, those who are looking to purchase in the not too distant future. So one thing that kind of popped into our head the other day, should we be assisting them in trying to locate that first property with an eye to getting that secondary suite in the property to assist them with that mortgage, or just let them go down that journey on their own?
Opportunity. How
Or
can you
should
say
we,
no to that question, guys?
or should we be looking at a rent to own?
Should I be helping somebody create value, is what you're asking me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, you should be helping the whole world create value. And you will be rewarded for it. Both monetarily, physically, emotionally, you helped somebody out, you made things happen. Jazzy?
I mean, yes and yes. We just like maybe we can talk in the next couple of days. You can give us an idea in terms of if you need help with us putting you in touch with brokers or like mortgage brokers or anything of that sort. If it's in London, we know who you should be speaking with. If you haven't already with Justin, he'll be able to help you through with the properties and stuff like that. But yeah, just like get started, do it up.
Yeah. I mean, the first approach or the first step is obviously doing a bit of a pre-screen on just their financials to see where they are, what their purchase price could be. I imagine for some of them, they don't even know what TDS and GDS are. So we're going to help walk them through that process.
Yeah, especially if you're thinking about Laura. I heard Laura mention a rent to own. So if you're going to be doing a rent to own, make sure you get in touch with us because there's lots of ways to do a rent to own, but we'll tell you kind of our process and see if that you're comfortable with it. But you want to make sure that they have $15,000-$20,000 in the bank right now, and then we'll kind of go through the process. But I love rent to owns, love them. Love them.
And we have some really good contacts in that world too. Like even if you don't want to head out the lease to own on your own, if you bring in a partner, like an experienced lease to own provider, and I can introduce you to at least 3 guys who do hundreds of these a year, just speak to them, interview them. You can do it on your own because you can. We can put you in touch with a lawyer that can do it for you yourself. But if you want to kind of look at other people's models and get more experience with it, you're not cutting in a major JV, and you're going to benefit from their experience. So we can make some suggestions for you, some recommendations.
And that's a great point, Simos. And I think Donald and Laura, I think you guys should actually, like, definitely for the first one, if you go down the rent to own angle, is do it with them the first time. Then the second time you'll have that much more experience. You can do it on your own.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We would always, the first time doing something is go in as the junior partner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why bang my head against a brick wall when somebody else has been through the steps before?
Love that. I love
it. Reach out to Ty, Don, and we'll get some recommendations for you, buddy.
Perfect. Thanks for
that was valuable.
the question, guys.
For sure. You're welcome.
Awesome. Gentlemen, I just took a quick look at the clock. It is 11:59 a.m. Who wants to start with our closing advice for the day?
Go ahead, Simos. I was like putting him on the spot.
As always, for me, it's all gratitude. Again, like I woke up this morning with my 2 beautiful, glorious children, put them in the pool, and I looked up in the sky, and that big, beautiful sun is shining. So, like, there's nothing more important to me than, again, I go through ups and downs every day with this COVID business. And for those who knew, I had a very big personal challenge with the passing of my mother last fall. So every day to me serves reminders, and there's not much I can do without remembering this or remembering that. So I look up in the sky. I'm very grateful for everything that I have. I'm very grateful to have the memories that I do. And I know today my sister is en route to my house. We're going to barbecue the living daylight out of some lamb, some sausages, some burgers. We're going to swim. And we're just gonna have the best day that we possibly can. I hope I was able to contribute to the universe by providing some value through this outlet this morning. And I just send love and good and positive vibes to everybody out there.
I'm going to go kind of on a micro tip. even if you're not thinking about purchasing, if you're a first-time home buyer or not thinking about investing, like even if you're not ready right now, a strategy that I've always implemented is every 3 to 4 months, I lock in an interest rate with my independent mortgage broker, because I might just wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm ready to buy something, and I protect myself in case interest rates hike up. Most lenders will lock in an interest rate for you for 3 to 4 months. And I just put it on kind of a regular, with my mortgage broker, he knows, just continuously lock in an interest rate for me. In case an opportunity, which I know opportunities everywhere, I just got to get in the way of it. And so something might come up tomorrow morning where I'm like, let me purchase this, or let me put in an offer here. And at least I know I've locked in an interest rate in case rates went up. It could save you $40,000, $50,000 over a 5-year term. And it doesn't cost you anything. It does not cost you any like, doesn't cost you $1 to lock in an interest rate. You're just protecting yourself against any hikes. So we just made you $40,000, $50,000. And I hope that the whole webinar today, the whole brunch with REC today was valuable.
Thank you,
Wonderful,
everyone.
guys. Thank you so much for having me this weekend. You guys have a glorious day.
Everyone, enjoy this weekend. Take care.
Awesome. Bye, guys.